Back to my channel. So we continue with the PySpark tutorial, and like I said, I've been using this resource, which I highly recommend. Now today we shall be looking at the PySpark SQL, and let's kickstart that. So the first thing we need is, as usual, we need to create a Spark session. So I'm going to run a Spark session there. So we need a Spark session, and okay, so we don't have PySpark. We might want to install that by doing pip install PySpark. Okay, and once that is done, we run this. So once you have successfully created a Spark session, now we want to run some SQL queries on our data set using the PySpark.SQL module. So the data set we're going to be using is this. So let's load the data set, and let's also see a sample of the data set. Okay, this is still installing. So this is the data set, and this is the sample. Okay, so this is done installing now, and we can clear this output. Okay, so once you have successfully created a Spark, okay, so we have a path now found. Let's get our data set. So this is our data set. Copy the path, and we can replace that with what we have here, and we can run that again. So that should fix that. Now, so we have the schema and we have the content. So here's the schema. We have 5 columns and their data type. Good. So now we can do a count to see how many records we have using the df.count, and that tells us we have 20. Good. So let's see if we can run some SQL on this sample data set. Now, so here is showing us how we can run a select on that. So we can use the data frame API. So, and that's API is the select function. So this is the data frame select function API. So that's very simple. We just call the Spark data frame. So this is Spark data frame, and we can use the select API on that, and we can put in the columns that we are interested in: country, city, zip code, and state, and we can just show the first 5. And that's that. Okay. If I'm just interested in only maybe the country and the zip code and city, so just the first 3. All right. So if you want to use the SQL style of query, where you just write as if you're writing an SQL statement without calling any select API, you can just use the Spark.SQL. Okay. Now, but before you can use that Spark.SQL, there's something that needs to be done here. You need to create a view, and that is what has been done here. after this data set was loaded, to see that we have created a view of this particular Spark data frame. We have created a view of it and we name it zip codes. And so going forward in our Spark SQL, that is the name we are going to use for that particular table. So that's why this table is called zip codes here. You could see it matches that. Yeah, I think it's case insensitive. That is good to know, because you can see the case here and it's quite different. So let's try that out. All right, so in our SQL select query, we just write our query inside a quotation mark. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, so we have this and we can write our query. Let's try that. That we've already so we've not created a view yet, so we missed that. Okay, this is what we did. So there's another similar thing. So it's either we loop it around like this, or we can just use this on our existing data frame. So what I mean is that we do it all at once, or we come and just say df and we just create that view. And so once we have created a view, let me drop this down, then we can now access the SQL codes there. You could actually see that it is not case sensitive, but I would prefer to actually use the same thing here, just to avoid any confusion. Okay, so that works. Good. So we can see that inside this place we can easily just load the SQL syntax, write an SQL statement inside this double quote. Now there's something I want to show here. Let's say that, okay, I have I'm receiving a Spark data frame, so I have my columns. Let's check my columns. So these are my columns. So I have an arbitrary Spark data frame, which I don't know what actually the columns is going to be. So in this case, I'm hard coding that columns. All right. But in a situation where I don't even know what the column's name is going to be, and I want to do something like, okay, for column, let's put a name because that's a keyword, and I want to get each of the columns in my data frame because I don't know them, and I want to now run an SQL statement using this column name. So how can I do something like that inside this place? That is what I want us to look at now. So inside this place I need to do that. So what fix do I have? Now I don't have I cannot just come here and if I just put column name here, let's say I just want to select this particular one, just want to select the first column name. If I run this is not going to make any sense, because it's going to tell me that it doesn't know anything about this column. Alright, so let's see the problem. Analysis exception cannot be resolved. So how do I do that? And I don't know the column name, so I cannot hard code this. So one easy fix is to use formatted string. So I'll put a placeholder here, and I'm going to now write the column name inside that placeholder. So you know it's a column name, and I can put formatted string here. So this will now translate as a variable name, and if I do that, we can see it actually takes each of the column name. So it takes the first one, which is actually record number. You can move this down, and it takes the second one, country, city, zip code, one after the other. So with this, it's easy for me to play around with whatever column name I'm actually interested in, because I can do some other stuffs here. Okay, I can check if the column name is a particular stuff. I can do some creative things here, because now I have access to the column name, and that's easy for me. Okay, so that's what I want to bring out from there. Let's say, for instance, I'm interested in, I don't want the first, whatever is the first attribute name to be included. I can say, okay, start from the second one to the end, or just take the first, start from the second one up to the third one, and I can do that easily. Okay, or I can just say just pick only the last one, whatever is the last. I can do some creative things here, like this. What did you do? Anyway, okay, so that gives me the last, double column gives me the last. Alright, so that is it for this video. Especially that's what I wanted to show in this video. Alright, thank you very much, and see you next time.